Yo, what up, YouTube? This is Rotacut, and today I'm going to be talking about lessons learned. Lessons learned from the 2017 bull run and what I'm doing as a result from them. There's a few more lessons from the early days of Bitcoin, like 2010, 2013, which I'll get into later on. But let's get right into it. First, the very first thing I want to say is that crypto is here to stay. I was very skeptical for a long time. I stood on the sidelines for way too long. I knew about it actually since the very, very early days when it was such a new technology and the buzz was around this internet money. Excuse me. I learned about it from the Folding at Home forums. And if you don't know what that is, Folding at Home was like this group of people that they use their spare CPU idle time processing power to actually help fold proteins at home to help cure cancer and things of that nature. So there was buzz about a similar network where you were utilizing your CPU to create bitcoins. So I heard about it then. I didn't do anything. So I understood it. I understood, jumping into a network and doing some sort of processing. But, I just kind of let it go. A few years later, obviously, I came back and, the rest is history. But, the point is, from those early days to where we are right now, lots of skepticism on my end. Excuse me. And now I'm like, okay, where are we going? We're going far, so it's here to stay. And then the second point, the second biggest lesson learned is that Bitcoin falls under a cycle. The Bitcoin cycle is real. It's what drives the whole thing. It's the halving effect. When I got into it in June of 2017, even though I had been in this sort of space of Bitcoin for a few years, I had no idea what the Bitcoin cycle was. I didn't read what the white paper said about it. I didn't understand the logic behind the rewards of mining crypto. I saw the highs of January of 2018 and the lowest lows in March of 2020. But that's all within one cycle. This is all of that is pegged into the logic behind the mining of Bitcoin, which means that the rewards that the miners get halved every 4 years. But what I've noticed is that mining doesn't stop. Miners will keep going. They know that every 4 years, their yield will be slashed. But you know what? The price will go up. They know that. And in my opinion, that's what anchors the price of Bitcoin. The miners, the cost of mining. But we can get into that later. I can ramble on for hours on that. But the next lesson is taking profits. So in 2018, I saw my portfolio go 6x. For example, if I invested $1,000 in 2017, by 2018 it was 6,000, and I thought it would like 10x, but I got greedy. It never did. For my sake, it never did. And then eventually I lost all my gains, and then some. I actually went in the red, but I held. I understood. Like I said, the Bitcoin cycle, I understood that there's every 4 years there's highs and lows, but it's always higher highs, and I believed in it, and it came back. What I should have done is taken some profits on the way up. I know it's hard, but everybody's a genius in the bull market, but when shit hits the fan and you have nothing to show for it, yeah, greed can overpower people. And it's good to have goals, and once you meet them, celebrate, take some profits off the top so that you can either buy when it crashes again or invest or purchase whatever your heart desires. So it's almost contradicting to my next point, though. In going back to my previous point, holding your crypto is also another lesson that I learned. I try to do some trading, but buy low, sell high. It worked out maybe one time. Nine times out of 10, it sucked. I ended up doing the old, buy high, sell low strategy quite a few times in 2018, and it didn't work well for me. So I got a really bad taste in my mouth, and I decided that the best thing to do for my case was to hold to a certain extent, right? Hold, a certain percentage of my holdings, and maybe now take some profits. Like for this next upcoming cycle, I got a set goal, and once it hits, once Bitcoin the Bitcoin price hits that, I'm gonna take some profits off the top. I'm gonna do that. Um, and going back to the whole conversation, when I saw my investments and the investments of my friends and family go in the red, they were asking me, hey, what was going on? What should they do? Should they cash out? Is this going to go to zero? I was pretty distraught, and what kept me sane was the simple strategy of knowing that the price will bounce back during the next Bitcoin cycle. I knew that. So, I knew I'd get my money back, and eventually I will have some profits. And that's exactly what happened. But after 3 years of despair, I finally broke even. I mean, I had, gains at the wazoo, and then they went down. I was in the red, and it took like 3 years for me to like break even, and my family members as well. Then green numbers started popping up and showing up in my portfolio, and everything was good, right? But it's a bull market. But we reach higher highs. Every cycle, you got higher highs. So really, the key is to hold it for one full cycle, 4 years, right? See what happens, and like the Back to the Future movie says, you hold it for one cycle, and you're gonna see some serious shit. So that's one of the biggest lessons that I learned. All right. So what about the holding thing, the holding conversation? My next lesson learned is the long-term investment. What are my heavy hitters? Bitcoin and Ethereum. So Bitcoin, because it's the granddaddy of them all. I don't think it's ever going to be dethroned. And Ethereum, that is my pick for one of the best assets to hold in years to come. When I finally decided to trade everything at the end of 2018 for Bitcoin and Ethereum, I literally made up my mind that in December of 2018 that long term, I need to have a nice healthy percentage of Bitcoin and Ethereum. That's the bottom line. All the other altcoins and shitcoins or whatever, they're nice, and they can provide you some 10x, 50x, whatever. And that's fine. You can trade if you want. But me personally, my biggest percentages are Ethereum and Bitcoin, and those are the main ones I hold. And I'll write it out. Next topic is going back to the altcoin. Another lesson that I learned is the altcoins can definitely make you some money, but man, are they risky. I remember buying everything under the sun in 2018, Music Coin, Red Coin, and whatever the F coin. I was like, oh, give me all the coins. And it was such a wild ride. It really was. And I remember when I invested in Stellar, that coin brought me so much excitement. I mean, I saw my investments. That's the one that I saw that actually lifted my portfolio, 6x. And I just held, and it never recovered. And eventually I traded it at the end, and I decided, hey, I'm going to go back to the granddaddy, Bitcoin, because everything else is exciting but very risky. And that's it. What more should I say about that? Hopefully, I guess the excitement of altcoins is that people think that it's the next Google is hidden in there, or the next Amazon, or Yahoo, or whatever. Oh man, Solana, that's the next one. Oh, Polkadot, or whatever. That's the excitement. That's why people put so much emphasis on the altcoin market and some of these coins, but they're risky. That's one of the biggest lessons I learned. And also, one of the fun ones for me is cryptocurrency mining. It's fun, and it provides a form of passive income. But it can be a nuisance. It can be quite cumbersome. When I first built my first mining my GPU mining rig in December of 2017. I mean, I was ready to mine all the coins. Hey, if you got a GPU mineable coin, let's do it. And I ended up, you know, uh, absorbing this and buying all the things that I could buy and build my rigs and all that stuff. I even built the second one. The issue, one of the big lessons that I had is when you're mining from home as a hobby, you need a dedicated room. You're going to generate so much heat and noise, and you're going to reduce your living space. Let's say you have an office, boom, now you got a corner dedicated to this thing and it's going to be loud, or maybe maybe it's generating too much heat. So you're going to reduce your living space. So the lesson I learned is that you have to be modular with your approach. Now I have a smaller footprint as far as GPU mining, in the sense that I have computers kind of scattered in 2 rooms in my house, but they're not as intrusive as before. They're not as loud, not as hot. And for example, if I want to use my movie theaters where I have my latest one, all I have to do is turn it off, carry it to the garage, and let my room cool down for like a good 10 minutes, and that's it. I'm ready to start watching movies and reuse my space. Whereas before I didn't. I had to handle all these cables and all these things, and it was a mess. Yeah, I got a new house and I learned that lesson. That's why I'm back into the GPU mining. But there's a lot more lessons that I learned along the way. One of the big ones that I started really diving into last year was passive income. I already knew that GPU mining and ASIC mining, whatever, right? They provide a form of passive income. But I also learned, staking and all these other yield farming and all these other things. But that's right now what's keeping me excited about this crypto space. And there's other things, there's other lessons, cold storage of coins. That the whole not your keys, not your coins type deal. That's a big one as well. The institutional excitement that's coming, the tsunami of possible, money coming into the space that's gonna bring up all the price, the price discovery of all these coins. It's gonna go through the roof. Another thing that I learned is there's a marriage incoming of traditional investments and crypto. That's coming. Everybody's kind of talking about it low key, and there's a lot of things behind the scenes. There's decentralized applications, taxes. Man, that took a few years to actually fully grasp and understand. I use this service that helps me track everything that I do. So if you're a trader, man, you better have a good handle on it. If you're just buying one coin and holding it, you don't really have to worry too much, only until you cash out. But because I do some conversion, some trading, some cashing in, blah blah blah, cashing out, I do have to be aware of taxes. But I feel very comfortable with it now, and I can go through that later. But yeah, I'll be making more videos surrounding these topics and my experiences in the future, and where I am in this regard, and all the topics surrounding crypto. But that's it for this video. Just a quick chat of some of the things that crossed my mind, and decided to make a post about it, all these lessons learned. And there's obviously a lot more, but I'll be once I jot down some ideas, I'll make another video, expand on these topics. But yeah, thanks a lot for watching, and until next time, see ya.